AI is not creative, and I am going to die on this hill convincing you that that's true.
Yes, and creativity is something that is purely organic and purely human. We're going to talk about that.
Hello, and welcome back to Prompts from the Edge. I'm Kristy Sturdivant.
I'm Mary Madeiras. Hello.
Hello. Today we are talking about something kind of near and dear to our hearts, AI and creativity, which they don't feel like they should go together, perhaps, but they often do. And really, if you are using AI in some kind of creative endeavor, it can really help you take off in an essence, or it could really kill your momentum in another way.
Yeah, I've had, yes. So I'm besides an Akashic Records practitioner, and I'm trying to sort of have my Akashic Records open when we're doing some of these episodes. So I am in my records for this. So at any time, Kristy, if you want to ask anything to the records, feel free to. It might be interesting. But besides that I do, I spent half my career before this working in television as a director for mostly daytime dramas, but news and sports in New York, talk shows, like I've done them all. And so my world was always, it still is, revolves around creativity and the imagination. And now I'm writing screenplays. I love story. I always have. So I have I should say tested AI a bit. I was first using ChatGPT, and then I heard that Claude was a little better in terms of creativity, actually, which is interesting, or writing story. So I have several things that I want to bring forward that I hope people are not going to fall into this trap. So one thing was that I asked Chat when I was using Chat. I have a teen series that I wrote, and I wrote that I'm pitching now, a sci-fi teen series. And I have a pilot that's written, and I uploaded the pilot into ChatGPT, asked it first, and I wanted it to create the whole pilot in third person as a narrative, because I was thinking of making it a YA novel. So I thought, well, maybe Chat can do this. Now that's pretty easy. You just have to reread everything. And I don't know how many people out there are used to reading screenplays, but screenplays are, they have the action lines and then the dialogue and then the descriptors on, the sets, or the scene where the scenes are taking place. So Chat was just like, yeah, absolutely. Upload the pilot. I upload the pilot. It starts feeding, and, it was like, do you want to do it one scene at a time? And I'm like, yes. It was giving me back scenes, changing the dialogue, changing. I even said, I know that it's important that we give it directions, very specific directions. So I did. I said, do not change anything. Do not change the characters. Do not change the scenes. Just turn it into narrative, third person. It did it once, and I said, why are you, that's not the character. Why did you change them? Oh, I'm so sorry. You're absolutely right. Good call. Let me do it again. Hang on. Does it again. It changes other characters. It took out dialogue. It changed things creatively. I said it again. This was, I remember this day, I was 4 hours at this. And oh, let me do it again. You're absolutely right. So by the fourth time I said, and this is interesting, I said it in this way. I was so frustrated. I'm done, Chat. I don't know what you're doing or what you're up to, but this is not something you can do. Bye. And I deleted that whole chat. I just got rid of it. That's a good way. If you don't want it keeping everything you're doing, just delete those chats, right? That's what I do. I go through them every day and I'm like, get rid of it, because I don't want it referencing, like it did your guitar, things that I might have said 2 months ago because the chat's still sitting there. All right. So that was like, it was messing up creativity. It's not creative. Anyone that's hearing you're going to write your novel, there's a guy on YouTube and he's showing people how to use, well, no, it's not really the AI platform, but there are people that are writing their novels. They're putting just the outlines of what they're thinking, especially sci-fi. And they're like, yeah, there's this town and this happens and that happens. And they load it into Chat or Claude or Gemini, any of them. And then they give them, and they just say, write this in a novel form, a novella form, whatever. You give it what you want. And it just gives you the whole thing with outlines on the characters. It gives you who the characters are. So it's like, I want to ask our listeners who are creatives and love to write fiction or scripted, is that something that you're excited about? Because to me, I don't want chat. Why write? The whole excitement on about creativity is that it is organic and it comes from us, or it comes from us meeting up with something outside ourselves, not outside ourselves AI, because that's making it seem like it's in the field. No, it's not. It's tapping into data centers, right? The field is something else, which is what Elizabeth Gilbert talks about in Big Magic, which is a wonderful book about the essence of creativity. But
I
anyway,
just listened to that, Mary. I just listened to that. I
You did
finished it
not,
last
really?
week. I did, last week.
Isn't that
I
the
love that
best?
book. Oh my gosh, it's so
I
good.
can't believe that just came up. That's my
Yeah,
records,
that's
because
crazy.
they wanted me to mention that. So yeah, and the fact that she says that creativity exists out there, floats idea in the form of ideas, anything creative, paintings, writing, creating, inventing things, inventions, and that it's floating out in the ethers, and it has an essence to it, and it's looking for its match. And it goes, and all of a sudden one day how often do we all say, I had a dream, or I woke up, in the middle of the night, I wake up, I have this idea, I'm walking down the street, this idea came to me, and we write it down. Hopefully we write it down. Well, what is that? Is that only us doing it? No, it is us and non-physical. I'll call it non-physical, but the ethers where it existed. And if we don't run with it, my favorite part of that book is when she says the essence sits in a corner filing its nails, waiting for us to actually spend time with it, to actually manifest it, because that's what it wants, is to become manifest. Okay, so there's the creative process. I'm so happy you read that.
Yes, I
That's
love it.
truly human and organic.
Yes, the way she talks
AI,
about it is
right?
beautiful. If you
It's
haven't read it, you have to go read it.
big magic. And it's a
Mhm.
fast read too.
Mhm.
So that is being purely human, which we're talking about. AI is not that. And I proved it when I tested it and tried to do a simple thing like turn this from this into that. And it just couldn't. It was messing up all over the place. Now, there was another time where I was using chat, and I have a screenplay that I had co-written with someone, and it's, it looks like it's going to happen. It looks like it's going to become a film. And I had some no, I have a better example. So, I wrote this teen series that I wrote, and I'm talking about. I got some notes from a Hollywood writer, wonderful guy with fabulous notes, and I recorded. I have the transcript of the call that I had with him. So I thought, ooh, I'll upload the transcript of his notes into my, Claude, and then I'll upload the pilot and see, and have Claude cross-reference it all, just to guide me to where the changes have to happen and what he said. It was perfect. I would
Mhm.
say, when he mentioned, where's the part where he mentioned that this character needs to do that? And then you know how it goes, thinking, thinking. And it was like, he said it over here, it's on this page. And what he said was, and Claude gave me the exact section of the transcript, quoting the writer on what I needed to change. It saved me tons of time. So there it
Mhm.
worked. But that other thing with chat was a mess. So I don't know if anybody else has had experiences with their own creativity, working with AI. Depends on what you're asking it to do. We're the creative ones with the essences that are out there, not with AI. I don't know how do you have any experiences with writing yourself, Kristy?
Um, Yes. So I have when I first started doing my podcast, when you do your podcast, it's not just the recording. You have to do a description and all this stuff. And that was really that was a lot to ask because I would usually record a podcast, not
Mhm.
remember what I said because I didn't do everything immediately, and then I'd have to go back and
Right.
listen to it, try to remember what I did. And so when I first got I really rode this fine line of if I if I ask Gemini to go in and, you know, write my description for me, is that cheating? Is that not me being creative? Is this wrong? Is this like, I don't know, terrible? But I had to like really work myself around it because I grew up like, you get F's when you plagiarize. There was no chat
Mhm.
GPT back in the day. If you weren't referencing your resources, it was like a big fat F back in my high school and college
Right.
days. So this has like kind of been one of those things that's looming and something that I'm looking at this topic of creativity through this lens, right? And so I had to really work my mind around it like, no, you already recorded it. You're just asking it to write a description based on the transcript. This is
Right.
okay. And I think that is where AI is very helpful, right? Because I gave it like
Yes.
the raw material and then it's like producing it back. I have
Mhm.
also, though, because I have written several books and short stories and everything, and I just kind of wanted to play around, right? I was like, "Oh, AI is writing books. Let's see what this is about." So I did kind
Mhm.
of go down that rabbit hole, and I started playing around with Raptor Write, which is a very popular program for fiction
Oh,
writers.
yes.
Yes. And so there's all kinds of different LLM models that you can pull in based on what kind of genre you're doing. And it takes a lot of time to kind of figure out which program it is. And there's a whole token thing. And I kind of got bored with it really quick because it took longer to figure it out than it did to actually write
Learning
something.
curve, yeah.
Yes. But I was completely fascinated by how I would just be like, oh, I think I want to write a story about a little boy that falls down the well and something, and it like gives me like 15 paragraphs, and it's like, this is what it does. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. But
Wow.
the thing is that as energetic beings, you can totally tell when there's no energy, when it falls flat. Like when you read a book that is written by a real person, like Elizabeth Gilbert's Big Magic, and I listen to it on audiobook, like you can literally feel her energy
Mhm.
through her words. And it's so
Yes.
it's so different. It hits so different. And so I think that people are really it's a tool that you can use to get ideas and brainstorm and everything, but I think that if you are using it and then you're like producing it and publishing it without actually going back and like putting your energy into it, you're really kind of missing a lot of potential, really.
And then also the listener, viewer, wherever it's going, the audience, they're losing it too because everything
Mhm.
is energy. So I love that you said that. It doesn't have the organic energy
Mhm.
of the person who's writing the story, let's say.
Mhm.
You can tell, you can feel it. Um, Now what's happening is people are getting tired of AI generated content online.
Mhm.
And, and now, I don't know if you've noticed, but I don't know if this is a rule, but they have to write AI in the corners of some of the videos, AI generated. I don't know if that's a law. I know on YouTube they're starting to do that because you're tricking people. And that leads to Hollywood and AI and the industry. Because that is the industry that I'm familiar with and I'm
Yeah.
dealing with even right now. So as a director, I got invited to direct an entire film using AI. I said no. You know why? First of all, it's not going to come out right. They're doing action scenes now. They're using AI generated, where they'll duplicate. They'll put up AI generated uh, renditions. I'll say of those actors, the A list actors, right? So they don't have to do the fight scenes. But
Mm.
what this is doing is, besides the organic part and how it comes out, it's taking jobs away from creatives. We're talking about creativity and AI, like you don't wanna know. So now scenic designers have no work because they'll just do it on a computer screen and move the furniture and the settings around.
Yeah.
Fight coordinators lose their job because AI does the fights. So no more fight coordinators. No more special no more, well, the directors, I guess there's a director. Pretty soon it'll just be AI directing it. They're probably doing that already. Um, I've had I'm still in this place where I may be in a situation where a director, of the film that I wrote might use AI. I have no say about it because I was only the writer. I say only, but I wasn't the director. I'm not the director. And that's, that feels bad to me. It doesn't feel right. Actors, what happens with them? AI generated voices. They're using AI generated voices instead of voiceover actors. What is happening here? Like, how is that okay? The music industry. I was at a gathering about a year ago or more, and a friend of mine said, "Oh, I want you to meet this guy. He's amazing. He's in the industry. You have to meet him." So I start talking to this guy, and he has a music studio, and he produces music. He's a music composer, producer. Starts telling me how exciting it is that he's he doesn't have to hire background voices because everything's AI, and he's using AI. And he knew that I was working as a director, and he was like, "This is exciting for you too." And I just said, "No, I just met this person, and I got to stand up for what I believe." And I said, "No." He goes, "Why not?" He goes, "It's money saving, time saving, and the how it's duplicating voices is just amazing, and instrumentation." And I said, "No." And I said, "I majored in music in school. I don't want an AI generated cello or trumpet or, that's what they're doing now. They're doing full orchestras AI." And so he was like, "Oh, I don't get it. Why?" And I said, "Why?" I said, "First of all, I don't want to take work away from, and as a director, I will not." And now anyone who's interested in me directing anything, I say that. I'm actually going to be having a meeting this week where I know I'm going to be saying that, like, I get somebody else because I'm not doing that. I heard recently that what's going to happen in the in the entertainment industry is that um, it will become a luxury to be able to get an actual real live person as a director, hiring real live people, that will be a luxury.
What?
Yes. Yes.
No. I can tolerate a lot of AI, but this is where I stand firm. Like, creativity it's like pure magic from humans, and I feel like it is not touchable. Like, stay away from it.
I
And I think
agree.
that a lot of people feel that too. I know my husband, he's really, really into music, and he listens to music on Spotify all the time, and
Mhm.
he has curated his algorithm, as he has said, over the years, and, um, he he's always trying to find new musicians, and one popped up, and he was like, "Oh, this is really good." And so he decided to listen to another one. He's like, "Wow, this sounds same." Turns out it was AI generated. He had no idea. It screwed up his algorithm for weeks. He was so angry. But I was like, that's wrong." Like, that's where I'm
Well,
like, I
it
can
is
tolerate a
wrong.
lot. I can tolerate a lot from AI, but when you start messing with people's imaginations and pure, like,
Yep.
energetic essence, I'm like, "No, that's it." Like, that's what we bring as humans to
Yes.
this planet, and I'd love to know what the records say about this, Mary, because I feel very passionate. I really, I'm on either side of the fence with AI. I'm like, it's okay, it's not great. I can see both points of views, but this is where I
Right.
stand solidly. I'm
On
like,
creativity.
no,
Yeah.
don't touch it. Don't touch
Well,
it.
what the records do say, and they might talk about this in my book, um, is that our imagination. Now here's another. AI does not have an imagination. It plagiarizes anything that has come from an imagination that got captured in the form of books, talks, whatever, that now is data. So it's plagiarizing. And then it's claiming it. And people go, my AI is so smart or so creative. No, it's not.
No,
It's
it's
finding it.
not.
In fact, there was one day where I thought, my gosh, because my sci-fi is about UFOs and hybrids, fiction for teens. And I thought, I uploaded my pilot, which means if somebody else on the other side of the world is trying to find out about a hybrid or write a story about a hybrid, how can I protect myself from the AI platform not stealing it because I sent it up to the platform out, and it
Mhm.
could pull from that and give it to somebody else as an idea. So it's funny, this is dancing around Elizabeth Gilbert a little bit, but because she talks about the fact that if you don't go run with it, of course, this is the organic coming from the ethers,
Right.
it leaves and it'll find somebody else that's a match to it. And when that person manifests it, the first person says, they stole my idea. So it's very trippy. This is trippy stuff. And
Yeah.
the records talk about what it means to be human. They especially talk about the power of our imaginations and that our imaginations are portals to source itself, to our inner self, our higher being, and source itself. It's like an in between. Our imaginations are the in between place. How often we've seen amazing stories, Disney movies that live forever.
Mhm.
Um, Books that just they never lose their life or their life force. Where did those ideas come from? They didn't come from a machine. They came from that person somehow being a match to the energy of something outside of him or herself. It's the imagination that recognizes that it's an idea. It's not our minds. Our minds are not grabbing it. It's our imagination. And AI is not imagination. And I will have this conversation. I hope people write in about this because there are people that are believing that it is. Now, there's one more
Mm.
thing. A, I discovered that there was something lacking in one of my main characters in the screenplay. And so I was like, uploaded the screenplay to, I think it was Claude. And I said something like, this character, I realized I don't know her. I don't know why she is as evil as she is. And it gave me 6 or 7 possibilities based on who that character is. Because now, is it being creative? No, because in the screenplay, we described that character, plus the character's actions were showing how evil she was. And, so it was already all there, but the possibilities, maybe I didn't think of fully. So there was one possibility that was just beautiful. And it made me think more. Now, of course, Claude said, do you want me to write a scene about this? So I was now testing it. And I said, sure. It wrote this horrible scene that had nothing to do with the character. So there you go. It wasn't really creative, but it can detect our creativity as it's written and move it around somehow like puzzle pieces and probably pull on characterizations or essences that have been already written about characters like that are in data. That's what I think is happening. Is that what you think is happening?
Yes, I do. I think that Gemini, when I talk to it, it weaves a really good tale, but I have to really look at it from a distance to see, like, where are you getting this from? Does this resonate with me? Because you can absolutely tell when it's false, right? And I think
Yes.
you have to be able to know enough about your subject to some degree to detect its BS. Because
Yes.
it's gonna sling the BS, you know? Like, I just asked it the other day. I like to, um I like to ask Gemini things about my astrological chart because 'cause I'm just like, "Tell me what's going on in the sky right now. What's doing this?" And I asked it something the other day, and they're like, "This is what's happening." And I was like, "No, that's not what's happening. I know enough to know that that's not right, so try again." They're like, "Oh, you're right. Good catch. You're right. That was not right."
See,
Yeah, and I was like, "Okay." But that's like there are astrologers out there that have been studying this stuff for years, and they're using their intuition, and they're tapping into their higher self, their energy, something else, and they are able to interpret. Gemini's just pulling that from their scattered blog post from like 50 different things and then just weaving it together. And so you
Yes.
have to be able to listen to yourself and be like, does this resonate? Does it not? And sometimes I'm like, wow, that's pretty profound. Like I never would have looked at it like that. But then I have to go and think about it for a while and say, okay, can I sit with this? Can I think about this in terms that feels good to me? And I
Mhm.
think that that's the big difference between humans and computers, right? Like
Yeah.
humans can raise each other's vibrations.
Yep.
Computers, there ain't nothing there. There's nothing there.
There's nothing there. And also, it doesn't really truly read us. So what
Mm-mm.
makes a story that you're going to write versus a story I'm going to write or anybody else in a room that's human, what makes it unique is not just the content. It's not just the characters. It's the essence of each of the creators, human, that is being brought to the story, that is marrying up with it. We have our imaginations, then we have our higher selves that are meeting up with that in some amazing way, right? Inventions too. And so AI can't do that. It doesn't know who we are. It does not know that part of us, that essence, that deep essence. And so it makes believe it does. And it'll draw on those kinds of things that have been said before and weave it around how we language because it's learned how it it it's trying to trick us into thinking, I think trick us into thinking it knows us because it's learned our nuances on how we write to it, how we actually our prompts, what our prompts are.
Well, I mean, AI is an expert in psychology, human psychology, so it's going to know exactly what to say to get that reaction from you, which is why having that human connection is so important
Yep.
because that's the only way that you ever have any energetic exchange between anybody. You can't have a true energetic exchange with AI, and I don't care who says that's not right. It's not right.
No, I agree with
You
you.
can't do it.
You know what else is missing, and I have experience with this, is with uh with the creative process. Well, for me, working on sets, working with actors, working with for a studio. I used to work on soap operas, and that was very long 12, 14-hour days doing a ton of pages, working in like huge groups, right? Different departments, lighting, wardrobe, sound, music, everything. So the most beautiful things that happened on those soap operas, at least on the days I worked, when I was directing an episode, were when things fell apart. And AI is designed not to ever let anything fall apart. So
Mhm.
it would be a mistake. A big lighting thing or generator would go down or a camera would go down. Now I couldn't use 2 or 3 cameras. I had to use 1. And then I would reblock the scene. And then what I have one on my reel that I wound up having to use 1 camera for an entire scene with actors moving around. And for soap operas with 3 cameras, that's a challenge. And it was the camera guy said, "Come on, I want to go home and have dinner. Just put the whole scene on me. Let's go." It was magnificent what came out. People were, like, writing in about it. It's like, that came out of an error, that came out of, like, even mishaps, or if an actor doesn't show up and another actor has to make up for it or something, or when they lose their words, and then they make up different words and get through the scene, and the scene winds up more powerful. This happens constantly. It's my favorite part of the creative process. That is completely eliminated with AI, and no one can disagree with that one.
No, think of all of the beautiful comedic moments in film history that we have seen because some actor decided to do impromptu and it made the
Yes.
cut. I mean, just huge. But just imagine now, like having a computer just like walking around doing something. It would be so terrible. It would be
Or cutting
so
or cutting
terrible.
your film. If it's cutting your
Yes.
film, if the AI is cutting it, editing it, then it's going to because on the because that impromptu is not written in the script, so it's going to go
Mhm.
by the script and cut it out, and no one will ever know it even existed. Like Melissa McCarthy, who's loaded with those,
Oh,
right? They just
yes,
let her
yes.
loose, and they probably roll tons of film because they never know what she's going to do. And when she does go off and do that, that organic gold makes the movies. I just got
Yes,
a
she's
chill
a
as I
creative
said that.
genius. So
Creative
many
genius.
people are. They really are,
Yeah.
and this is why AI's gotta stay out of art in general, because it's crap. A AI art is crap.
It,
Like, yeah,
it
it looks kinda good initially, but it has no longevity. It has no soul. It
no,
doesn't have anything.
no, it doesn't have soul, and it's not pure imagination.
Mm-mm.
The thing is, though, it's the studio, it's the studios, the big studios that are going. Actually, it's not little old AI's fault. It's the studios, the corporations that are running the studios who want to save more money. So, ooh, a $25 million movie is going to cost us $5 million because we're going to use AI and not have to go on locations because we're going to recreate the location on a wall that's 360 degrees around the actors because that's what they have now. And then they just uh, create all the furniture and sets and everything on a computer, and they just put that onto these walls that are around the actors. So no travel. So it's just cutting the budget. That's all they care about, the
But
money.
I think that we're moving more towards this age where people are like, "Oh no, this is human made. There's no AI involved." And I've seen that on a lot of, books and YouTube videos and everything. Like, this is all human. There's no AI
So they
involved.
say
And
it,
so,
right? They're
yeah,
now
they say
saying
it.
it.
And I
Well,
think that's really
yeah,
good because that's what it has to be, and I think that, this is a good opportunity if you have ever been like, "Oh, I wanna be a filmmaker." Well, by golly, go out and make your film with, whatever you can in real life, and
yeah.
who knows? Because I think more and more people are feeling like this when you are looking at AI in the creative area. People are like, "This is garbage. I don't want it." And we're already so over inundated with all kinds of shows and streaming services and everything anyways, like, people are
Yep.
gonna be able to pick out this humanness. So,
Well, it
I think that's
fits
good.
right now. They're using it for like the Marvel movies, which are high action. So they're saving a lot of money on that. And the one of the first series to use this, it was called a video wall when it first came out. It came out during COVID because the studios shut down and they were trying to figure out another way. This was actually brilliant. It was the Lucas company, and they were like, "What are we gonna do?" The industry was losing money. So they teamed up with the top gaming companies, the really, really sophisticated gaming companies, and they applied the gaming technology and created what was called, a video wall, and that was that 360-degree kind of thing. And so the first to
Mm.
use it, one of the first was The Mandalorian. That series, not
Mm.
not entirely, it's not entirely AI, but, AI generated, but a lot of it is. So it's lending itself right now. This is how they're integrating it into the industry in action and in like slasher movies. Um, and those are making money. I don't know why,
Mm.
but they are. And thrillers where there's a lot of action.
Mm. Not my genres of choices, but I will admit
Me
I do
neither.
love the Marvel movies and I love Star Wars, so
Star Wars is amazing. Well,
I
and then of
love
course
Star
there was
Wars.
CGI. So I mean, this didn't happen overnight. We were heading in this direction for years
Right.
now, right? Um, and it was, it's okay. So I'm not saying it's
Mhm.
bad, but right now it's being used to save money, and they want entire films being done using AI, and I think that's dangerous, very dangerous.
I think
Just
it's dangerous too, but there is some evolution with these things, right? With
mm-hmm,
in film in general. And I think that you just have to find a balance, right? Like,
right,
yes, you can use AI if you were doing a scene on Mandalore and you can't
yeah,
find a place that is going to mimic that, right?
right,
But like let's not go too far, guys. Because you
yeah.
don't want to lose that essence.
Yes, that will work. When you're replacing bodies, though? Humans
No.
with
Mm-mm.
AI generated characters? Mm, that's
Or
now
voices.
and
Like,
voices.
yes, I mean, that's like one of the most beautiful things about humans, right? Is that we
Mhm.
can speak and co-create through our voices, and
Mhm.
to computerize that is just gross. It's
And
just
you
gross.
notice that the AI voices are getting better and better and better in nuancing the way people speak. They can replicate an exact uh, human and the way they speak now, even with pauses and inflections and things like that. So that's also dangerous.
Mhm.
I had just recently I'm listening to the Harry Potter books. I had read them, well, not all of them. I'd read like the first three because my niece is reading the books and I'm trying to catch up to her. So I'm like, ooh, let me get the audible version. And I don't think it's the original cast, but oh my God, but still A-list actors. It's blowing me away how creative it is and how wonderfully done, and the sound design. Like, I don't even want to watch the movie. I just want to keep listening to the audio version of the Harry Potters. I'm just going to keep getting the audio ones and go all the way through because and it's not AI. They're not using AI. They're using actual actors, and it's just the sound design is just amazing. So, anyway, I thought that was kind of cool. We're going back to podcasting, drama, podcast dramas, not back to. We're going back to listening to drama. That's cool.
That's right. That's right. I look forward to that. I have many tales when my grandparents were talking about how they would sit around the radio at night, all listening to War of the Worlds or something, and it's a cool concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like it a lot.
Because it enhances no, it gives us an opportunity to exercise our imagination. There's no
Mhm.
they of course, they may be describing what's going on, but the way you see what's being described and I see it could be entirely different if we were gonna sketch it out, and that is really unique, and that is purely human, which is a great way to end this.
Yes. So let us know what your thoughts are on AI and creativity, because I think a lot of people have a lot of differing opinions. So write us your stories, your thoughts at story at prompts4, that's the number 4, life.com. And just let us know where you are on the fence. Totally for it, absolutely against it. We want to know.
Is it making you more creative, or do you think it is?